Welcome to our virtual history tour of Fort Mitchell. This summer, we explore the history and stories of houses and families in Fort Mitchell. We will post a new video every Friday in June and July highlighting a new house and its history. Videos will be posted to our Facebook group, Kenton County Library Archives, and our Kenton County Public Library YouTube channel. We will also have a special tour-related post on our Instagram account, Kenton Library Archives. Our first stop today is the Fort Mitchell Country Club. The Fort Mitchell Country Club has been operating at its Fort Mitchell Avenue location since its opening in 1904, almost 120 years ago. The Kenton County members of the now-defunct Iverness Club decided to branch off and form their own club in the modern-day Fort Mitchell area. The country club actually preceded almost all of the homes on our tour, as it was built when the Fort Mitchell area was only farmland. The first lot purchased after the first Fort Mitchell town plat was laid out in 1906 was even purchased by Country Club charter member Frank D. Van Winkle, and many other charter members followed suit. When the country club first opened in 1904, the new clubhouse building and golf course were not yet complete. Instead, the club used the Perkins family homestead as a gathering place and quickly constructed an outdoor dance pavilion. The pavilion was said to be a simple wooden structure about 30 feet by 50 feet in size, decorated with various lanterns, and it was a very popular spot for society dances. The homestead became residential again after the new clubhouse was built and resided on Ridge Road until the mid-1960s, when the Perkins home was razed and the current homes at 21 and 25 Ridge Road were built. The original clubhouse was built by architect W.B. Bosmith in the summer and early fall of 1904, with a design that mixed colonial, classical, and other popular revival architectural styles of the time. The building was 2 stories tall and included a basement and verandas around the above-ground levels. The basement housed the men's lockers, dressing rooms, and showers. The first floor included a large dining room, the kitchen, the women's dressing room, a parlor, and the men's grill room. The second floor was almost entirely taken up by the ballroom, but also included the steward's quarters. Several additions and updates were made to this first clubhouse over the years to address spacing issues and general maintenance. The first addition in 1916 nearly doubled the size of the clubhouse, enlarging the ballroom and kitchen and also creating new women's dressing rooms, a men's grill room, and a staff space. The 1957 edition added a new ballroom structure and almost completely redesigned the layout and rooms inside, now all of them air-conditioned. On February 23, 1970, the Fort Mitchell Country Club's newer ballroom addition caught fire and nearly burned down. The fire started in the addition's basement grill room and spread throughout the entire clubhouse. The older parts of the clubhouse only suffered from smoke and water damage due to the sprinklers, but eventually the club decided to completely rebuild the clubhouse instead of renovating it. The new clubhouse, which is still standing today, was constructed during early 1971, opening in August of that year. Matthew Tobin built the new colonial revival style building with red brick, black shutters, and white detailed trimming and columns. The entrance includes a covered drive-up area leading into the first floor, which has a large dining room, connecting bar room, a private ballroom and event space, and the kitchen, while the basement has locker rooms, showers, and a lounge area. The current clubhouse has had many updates, but has also had 2 major renovations. One in 1977 that made the building wheelchair accessible and added a new gazebo, and another renovation in 2021 that expanded patio space, added a golf simulator to the basement, constructed a sports bar pavilion, and repainted the exterior to be almost all white with teal shutters. Besides the clubhouse, the Fort Mitchell Country Club has been home to a variety of sports facilities and an annex. The annex was built near the clubhouse property in 1909 after basement ventilation complaints. It was used as a men's locker room, a snack shop, a maintenance storage area, a pro shop, and even members' quarters until it was razed in 1968 due to deteriorating conditions. A combination utility building and pro shop was built on the same site the next year. The original 9-hole golf course was constructed in 1904 and 1905 by famous golf architect Tom Bendelow and club board member T.J. Craighead. The course was rebuilt by A.N. McFeeters, who also designed the original DeVue Park golf course, and has remained largely the same throughout the years with only minor updates. During the club's early history, many famous amateur Northern Kentucky golf players were either club members or frequenters of the course, including Bill Dupree. The club often hosted regional and state amateur competitions for golf and regularly competed against other club teams. The club also built tennis courts around the same time as the golf course, which were equally as popular with club members until the Great Depression when they were dismantled. In 1975, the club built a new set of tennis courts in the same area where the original ones had been, and those courts have remained to this day. Interestingly, the club did not have a pool until 1942, when the club faced dwindling memberships and wanted to increase local interest during the wartime. This rectangular pool was prone to leaking and damage and was rebuilt in the spring of 1961 to a similar shape and size. The current L-shaped pool and snack shop were built in 1989 due to the second pool's wear. The club also had a baseball diamond, a shooting range, a basketball court, and a bowling league, but all had been torn down or removed by the mid-1900s, and the bowling league stopped towards the end of the century. The club wasn't without its fair share of hardships. Besides the 1970 fire that heavily damaged the original clubhouse, there were at least 3 other notable fires in 1930, 1940, and 1944 that caused small amounts of damage to the clubhouse and golf course. Although the club did survive the financial hardships of the Great Depression, it almost closed due to dwindling member numbers and issues with the club's debt and mortgage. In 1930, the club attempted to avoid bankruptcy by deeding the club property to the trustees, but the club still went into bankruptcy in 1935. The club was able to restructure its finances and loan payments under bankruptcy laws and was deemed stable in 1940, with the club's mortgage being fully paid off in 1957. In 1983, the Fort Mitchell Country Club was the infamous site of a hepatitis incident. Food contamination and waste issues led to members and staff contracting hepatitis after 2 January events, the annual sports stag and a wedding banquet. The infection spread to other non-members in northern Kentucky and forced the club kitchen to temporarily shut down until the disease's cause could be established and eliminated. Even though there were major fears and concerns about the club's stability, they were able to decontaminate the kitchen and reopen later that year, and the club was able to afford the payouts for the victims' lawsuit. Despite all of these setbacks, the Fort Mitchell Country Club has managed to survive and thrive throughout its nearly 120 years and has remained an important part of the Fort Mitchell community. If you'd like assistance with researching your own historic Kenton County property or family, you can make a one-on-one research assistance appointment by calling 859-962-4070 or emailing history@kentonlibrary.org. Thank you for joining us today on our virtual history tour. Our next video will feature the Harry R. Welling House at 31 Fort Mitchell Avenue.